rest is, well, it's not going to be quite as entertaining.
Well, do you want to, it's the defense part is open to everybody as well. This could also be an opportunity to fail. People don't want to hear defense.
This is also a good point.
So should we start? Sure. Do you want to start?
Do I want to start? Can you describe how the product and the planned product are similar?
Well, the planned product was much different. I came up with a few different concepts that I thought I would be able to write, and I outlined them a little bit in my head, as well as talked a little bit about each one in my thesis outline, talking about what I was going to write. And then when I sat down to write them, things would happen, and either A, the idea just wouldn't fit, or B, I'd start writing it and it would be terrible. But real life kind of intervened. There's the second part, which is called How to Gossip, was inspired by a real life event. I think it was one of your birthdays, I'm not sure which one, in which, it was Cody's birthday. Okay, so at her roommate Cody's birthday, there was this magazine that somebody got him because it had a half-naked woman on it, and he's homosexual. So it's being passed around the table, and at one point somebody else is reading through the magazine, and right behind him is Mallory and somebody else, and they're talking about someone, and they say, oh, do you know Morgan? And then somebody reading the magazine says, slut. He's reading the pages. So I was thinking, man, this could be a really good bit. Just having somebody translate what people are actually saying. And so that's what happened with How to Gossip, as an example. Other than that, it was a lot more haphazard than I really wanted it to be. And I tried to put as much craft into each one of the rewrites, but each one of the initial drafts was just, I can't really describe it. I've never had an outpouring of creativity like that.
I had a quick question about the writing process. And when you're working on it, are you thinking more, I mean, you have these small plays, and so there's sort of an independence to each one. Are you thinking of, are you thinking thematically first, like that you want to convey some keen insight that you have? Or are you approaching it more as a bit, in a way, that you're just then extrapolating?
There is always, I always start with a core idea, something that interests me, something which is either bothering me or which I've been thinking about a lot, and I'll sit down and, in the case of a one-act, I'll just start writing dialogue and see what happens, and see what kind of characters I can build out of that. For a longer piece, I would probably build the characters first. In the case of life lessons, it's just stuff that I think that people learn eventually through the course of their experiences, as opposed to anything that is taught in a school setting. The reason why they're all independent is because I kind of want to make something bigger, but at the same time, I wanted to make something that could also be divided up into pieces and understood separately of each other.
When you originally wrote Life Lessons, were you intending to be more with that character, Dr. Raven? Were you intending more to go with that, or was that just what you wrote for that one play at the beginning, or was there more
That was
planned out?
just going to be a one-off, but people kept telling me you should expand this. So then I got the idea that I could end up doing a thesis on it, which would be a good kick in the ass to actually sit down and write it. Otherwise, I'm not sure that I ever would have.
I just want to say the revisions on that one have gone quite a long way since the conference when I did the reading on this one.
That's right. Joe was also. What part did you play?
I played what's the other
Dick.
guy? Yeah, I played
You played
Dick.
the part of Dick at
Yeah,
the
Jillian.
Delta conference.
Mhm.
Do you have a thought, Roberto, on who your intended audience would be?
For the most part, 20-somethings, possibly younger.
Have you ever given any thought to the possibility of expanding it to a wider
I might well.
audience?
I would need more insight into what it's like to be mature. That's really the best answer I have right there.
If possible, I'd like to make a comment on that, because while it's certainly aimed there, it seems like, it's really smart, and clearly everyone in the room enjoyed it. I mean, everybody was laughing. It seems like it appeals to different age groups, just because.
The one about writing a paper really spoke to me.
Yeah.
That's right, you've gotten that paper before, haven't you?
Yo,
That's right.
I have written that paper. and I work with kids now. We have an 18-year-old, and I have helped him write that paper. He may have done the reading, but he had no comprehension. And I'm quickly going through the pages. Oh, here, put this down. But put it in your own words.
In looking at the piece as a whole, we've got lessons on practical applications of death, the history of the universe, math you can use in real life, which is quite good. Are there other lessons that you didn't get to that you wanted to explore?
I thought of one the day after I turned in the thesis, which is how to ride public transit.
Nice.
Oh, you need to write that one.
Yeah, please write that.
The basic idea behind that one is going to be somebody else starts the narration, and then Professor Raven comes in and says, I'm the only one who's able to break the fourth wall, and the other person says, it's a free country. All while on the phone.
Any others?
I haven't had any strong ideas other than that one.
And I just have one final question. You mentioned at the beginning that there were 5 that you liked, and 2 not so much.
Yes.
What do you think happened with those 2?
I tried to base them too much on the ideas that I had come up with my original outline instead of just not thinking and writing. I found that for one act, at the very least, the absolute best way for me to write is to not think about what I'm writing while I'm creating it. Not to think about what core idea is leading to it, and to just see what comes out.
Then I did have one thing that I couldn't remember. The characters, they're intentionally, well, they seem to me intentionally generic. I mean, we named them Dick and Jane. Do you see them as actual characters or more stand-ins for roles?
I see them as actual characters, but they're definitely amalgams of various character traits which I have witnessed in people. I did want them to be semi-generic for the idea of them being examples. But I have written some character treatments on Dick and Jane, trying to get a little bit more in their head, particularly for the revisions.
And was that helpful? Did they create some significant revisions? Or?
It made Dick a lot more human overall. And it made Jane a little bit bitchier.